Before what? Oh. You ready? Okay. It's 7 p.m. on Monday, July 15th, 2024, and I will call this regular city council meeting to order. I do want to thank everyone who's joining us this evening, and if Councilmember White would lead us in the flag salute. So council, this evening, Councilmember Peretti, Councilmember Strader, and Councilmember Cedar have all asked to be excused this evening.
I move to excuse Councilmember Peretti, Councilmember Cedar, and Councilmember Strader.
Second. It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker and seconded by Councilmember Hall to excuse Councilmember Peretti, Councilmember Strader, and Councilmember Cedar. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 4-0. And then just to note for staff, we have Planning Manager Stallnecker, Interim Finance Director Robeck, Chief Hernandez, and City Clerk Tricia Summers. Moving on to citizen participation. The purpose of the public comment period at this meeting is for those wishing to address the council on any matter. It's not intended for debate or discussion with the public. Please be sure to state your name and address for the record, and we kindly remind you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. The first person we have on the sign up is Todd Fuller.
I didn't know I was going to be the first one. Todd Fuller, what else do I need to say?
Your address.
Address, 2756 Comet Street, Milton, Washington, 98354.
Perfect.
3 minutes is short, but I'll try to make this short and sweet. I came tonight to talk about the, Milton Truck Storage Lot. It's project number LUA 2020-0010. We had a public hearing on this project last week on Wednesday with the examiner, and it is a large semi-truck trailer lot. I'm not sure, are you guys all aware of that? Does anybody, I can't really ask questions maybe. So let me just go into this a little bit. I'm extremely concerned about the negative health impacts that the proposed Milton Truck Storage Lot project would have on hundreds of Milton and Edgewood residents who live within 500 feet of this project location. The construction and operation of this proposed truck storage lot will become an immediate, significant, and dangerous new diesel fuel exhaust pollution source in our community. Normal operations of trucks arriving, parking, starting up, warming up idles, cool down idling, and constant running for refrigeration units means 5 to 20 truck engines will be emitting diesel fuel exhaust at any given time during the lot's 24-hour operations. The proposed lot is for 111 semi-truck trailers to be put in across the street, essentially from the Sundance Apartments, Milton Hollow Condominiums, and the 207 East Apartments that are just across Meridian. I just wanted to read real quick. These are a couple of quotes coming off of the Environmental Protection Agency, OSHA, Veterans Administration, and other state government agencies' websites regarding diesel fuel. The exhaust from diesel engines is a mixture of gases and particles. A number of health and environmental impacts can occur from short and long-term exposures, including cardiovascular, respiratory, nervous system effects, and even cancer. Short-term exposure to diesel exhaust can cause coughing and irritation of the eyes, nose, throat, and respiratory tract. Breathing in diesel exhaust can cause lung irritation and allergic reactions, asthma, wheezing, difficult breathing, making pre-existing asthma worse. Other symptoms may include lightheadedness, headache, and nausea. Long-term exposure may lead to serious health effects. The International Agency of Research on Cancer, which is part of the World Health Organization, has classified diesel fuel exhaust as a carcinogenic to humans, determining that exposure to diesel exhaust emissions increases risk for lung cancer and possibly bladder cancer. This parking lot will be, the actual parking spaces for these trucks in some cases will be less than 75 feet from the Sundance Apartments and from the Milton Hollow condominiums that we have at the end of the street. Okay, I guess that's my time I've been given on that. I've submitted an 8-page line by line. You probably saw that. I just would like that to be looked at. At this point, the city of Milton is recommending to move forward with this, and we're just looking to try to talk further to help understand what the real issues are and what the impacts will really be for our citizens.
Thank you for your comments. Patrick McHugh?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Patrick McHugh, and I live at 2758 Comet Street, Milton, 98354. My notes for the city council and the mayor to review, or at least keep in mind, were from the written reports and subsequent follow-ups from and to that meeting that they had last week with the examiner. And the staff report regarding air quality was virtually incorrect, non-existent as to the proximity proposed for the development of this to existing multi-level, multi-family housing on 28th as well as 27th. This is from page 4, section 3. Just today, I received a new property value assessment as far as market value for my home, and it went down 3.2% since the 1st of June. That may not seem like a lot, but as a single income household on a fixed income, that's significant to me. That's just since the 1st of June. It quantifies to $14,000. When I asked what went into that assessment, it was existing house sales, as well as any pending or approved permit action in the city of Milton, which was to be considered for traffic and access. At this point in time, page 7, section 7, there were no goods or services implemented in the plan other than it is a 111 slot parking ramp or parking establishment with no employees on site. I don't see what the economic gain is to the city of Milton as far as any revenues. That might be part of it, but there is no job creation here other than the first building or the construction of the site. What I did find, I worked in public works for nearly 20 years of my career, and what I have found was that the analysis, which they've had since 2020 to complete by the staff of Milton, was either false, incorrect, ignored state of Washington environmental standards, and I thank you for your time.
Mr. McHugh, can I ask you a quick question? Did you submit or did you testify at the public hearing?
No, I did not.
Okay, so tonight's comments won't go to the hearing examiner, but the window for public comment is still open. So if you want to supply written comment to Planning Manager Stallnecker before that deadline, we can get it into the record.
I can do
Okay,
that.
and anyone else in the audience that is here for that matter, you can still submit written comment for the public or for the hearing examiner to review.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Boyle, did you want to speak?
You're not having a public hearing, are you?
No.
Thank you, Council. Mayor Tom Boyle, 1109 9th Avenue. Actually, I just drove by City Hall and saw that Councilman Whalen's headlights are still on his truck, so I swung in and to tell him that your lights are still on your truck. And so while I'm here, on other efforts, I spoke with and met finally the new mayor of City of Edgewood. and he was doing his walk today, and I was very, very pleased to hear that our mayor was there to meet him today on his walk through the Milton Interurban Trail today, and I know she'll have some comments later on and addressing his efforts to raise funds for the continuation of the Edgewood portion of the Interurban Trail. And I would encourage all our council members to support our mayor in supporting their mayor in extending that section of the trail. So in his efforts to extend that. And while I'm here, I would also like to thank you all for giving the Planning Commission Angelique. She recognizes all our personalities now, and we've got a good system going. She's got us all in check and under her hard-earned fist, and I just wanted to thank you all that she's doing a very good job. And it's been a long time that the Planning Commission, you know, we've been under Planner Stallnecker for a couple of years now. And you know how wishy-washy it was for a few years, specifically during COVID. And now we've got our boots on the ground. And I just wanted to say that she's doing an excellent job. And we're all cohesively working as a group very well, very, very well. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boyle. Councilmember Whalen, are your lights a concern for you? Would you like to take a 5-minute break to go turn them off?
I was going to ask for a moment or two after, but do you want to give me?
I can
that-
pause. We can pause for 5 minutes if you'd like.
You give me that time now, I'll check that.
Yep. So we're going to take a 5-minute recess.
Your notification.
Distracted him.
Especially because we can't. Oh, you can go up to the podium. And we're coming back from recess at 7:14 p.m. to continue citizen comment.
My name is Ron Pilo, spelled P-I-L-O. I live at 2733 Diamond Street, Unit F, Milton, Washington, 98354. I'd like to address the condition of the sport court at Memorial Park. I've addressed the Parks and Board Commission about it. It is a mess. I was there this morning playing pickleball. Madam Mayor, you know I like to play my pickleball. So I was there this morning and the crew came out, they emptied the garbage can, but there was a whole pile of garbage all along the fence that they never touched. And that's a fairly common occurrence, that those folks that go up there don't clean up the park. Also, I believe that since there was a large amount of money spent on surfacing that court, that it needs to be pressure washed at least once a year to maintain it. If you don't do that, the amount of debris that sits on the court is going to deteriorate the surface probably sooner than it should be. And again, the city will have to incur a large expense to fix that. So kind of like the Fram Oil man, you can pay me now or you can pay me later. I would prefer that the city pay now and have it well maintained. It's pretty dirty and it needs to be taken care of. So those are my comments. So thank you very much. Oh, by the way, I did apply for a position on the Parks Board, so I would appreciate your support.
I appreciate your comments and bringing it to my attention about the garbage. Okay, so moving on, the next item is additions and deletions. Any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda? Okay, moving on to consent agenda, if I can get a motion to pass.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember White and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker to pass the consent agenda as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 4-0. So the next item this evening is a presentation and update from our events committee. I'm going to call April Balsley up to the podium.
Council, Madam Mayor, thank you so much for having me. April Balsley, 6924 Johnson Road. I've been a citizen of Milton for 19 years, and I've sat on the events committee for at least 11 of those years and been chair and or co-chair of that event committee for at least 7 of those years. So Milton Day is August 17th. We're excited. Are you guys excited? Can I get a whoop whoop? There we go. So this year, we're really excited. You know, our committee is a thin 7, an amazing, mighty thin 7. It is a completely volunteer board. Every year, we help map out our biggest event of the year that happens across the street at our community park. This year, we have 71 vendors, 7 food vendors. We have raised a little bit over $11,000 in donations and sponsorships, which is really big for our event that, you know, welcomes so many people from our city and surrounding cities. Friday night is our kickoff night. And what that entails is we welcome our local community to come on out, kick it off. The last couple years, we have invited Birds of Prey. We've had the reptile gentleman, and this year we have a petting zoo. One of our local food trucks, Dirties, comes out and helps serve hot dogs, pops, and water. That'll be from 5 to 7 on Friday night. We're just really excited. One thing that we are hurting is volunteers. So first, you know, just looking here at our amazing council members, you guys are all going to participate in the parade this year. Our parade is at 11 a.m. We would love to re-engage in the tradition of our council members being a part of that. It's also a great way to expose you to the local community and connect you with the citizens. We'd also encourage and invite you guys all to come volunteer in some, you know, retrospect, prospect, words are failing. But come on out and please volunteer. It's the one place that we do hurt. Our amazing volunteer, Mari Pipping, is our chair for our volunteers. So if you guys are interested, please reach out to her. We'd love to see you guys out there. And again, this also fits a great purpose for you. You get to connect with the citizens, wear your name tags, answer questions, and volunteer. We'd love to see you guys out there a little bit more. Do you guys have any questions for the committee? No? All right, go Milton Days, woo!
And I'll just plug 2 things. One is we have an opening on the events committee, so anyone in the audience or listening to this that's interested, you can just fill out an application and we can chat. And then the volunteers that April's referring to is we're calling them roadblock rangers this year. So we need residents to hang out with our public works and police department at the road closures for the parade. and you get one of the best seats in the house because you're at a road closure. And we just want citizens to be there with the police and Public Works in case they get called out. We don't leave a road closure open to people coming through. So, and then you can head straight to the park right after. So, all right. Thank you, April. Thank you, Christy. Okay, so we have 3 items tonight on our agenda. They are all action items. The first one is on page 17 of your packet. It is an update to it's ordinance 2087-24, an update to Milton Municipal Code 12.16.105. I'm going to turn the floor back or over to Chief Hernandez for a quick review of this one, and then I will need a motion to open up the floor.
Good evening, council and distinguished guests, and those that are attending virtually. This agenda item 7A, ordinance 2087-24, is brought to us by the recommendation of the WCIA that we should permit bouncy houses on city property. And this ordinance was drafted by our attorney, and I recommend to council that they pass this ordinance to protect the citizens and the city.
Councilmember Hall?
Move to approve ordinance 2087-24 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Hall and seconded by Councilmember Whalen to approve ordinance 2087-24 as presented. Councilmember Hall, did you want to speak to your motion?
Just that it just makes sense, business-wise for the city, liability for the city, and in turn that helps the residents. So I think it's no reason not to.
Councilmember Whalen, did you want to speak to your second?
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I agree with Councilmember Hall. It is to protect the citizens, what you might say, adequate equipment, covered by their own insurance and so forth, that the city doesn't have. It's limiting the liability that the city may have, and that's appropriate. It's also very appropriate to provide that type of equipment for users at the park at their own risk. And I'm not saying there's any risk to it, but financial risk. So it's appropriate to do. Thank you.
Any other comments from council? Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. What occurred to me about this one too is anything that helps protect the city also helps protect the citizens in a nutshell. So this seemed, like you said, it's totally makes sense.
Any other comments? Okay. This is an action item, so we do allow comment from the audience. Any comments from the audience? Okay. It's been moved by Councilmember Hall and seconded by Councilmember Whalen to approve ordinance 2087-24 as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 4-0. Before we move on, I will add that I've been contacted by a reporter regarding this ordinance. So I don't know what there's much to write about, but if it comes to fruition and it's written, I'll make sure I forward it on to council. So moving on to our next item, it's page 21 of your packet. It's resolution 24-1976, amending our fee schedule. I'm going to turn the floor over to our interim finance director, Robeck, and then following her review, I will need a motion to open up the floor.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The Department of Licensing announced that on June 22nd, new fees for notarial acts went into effect under Washington Administrative Code. The proposed resolution reflects this change by increasing the notary fee for documents unrelated to official city business from $10 to $15. All other fees in the fee schedule remain unchanged.
Mayor Pro Tem?
I move to adopt Resolution 24-1976, the updated fee schedule as presented.
Second.
It's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker and seconded by Councilmember Whalen to adopt Resolution 24-1976, the updated fee schedule as presented. Mayor Pro Tem, did you want to speak to your motion?
Yes, especially when it's somebody who's wanting to use the notary, that was good, to notarize documents, and then it's not for the city use, it makes sense to, have an increased fee for that.
Councilmember Whalen, any comments?
Thank you, Mayor. My comment is just kind of a thank you. When we have small changes like this take place, we see the entire section for the table of contents and business license and so forth. And it gives us a very apt opportunity to review all other numbers and facts and figures and so forth. And it's refreshing. It's not like we have to, go into another book and look for it. I appreciate the information that comes along with even these small changes that we make. So thank you, and it's helpful.
Any comments from council? Councilmember White?
I just have a couple of questions. How much revenue do we make from providing notary service?
That's a good question. I probably should have looked that up. It's not a large source of revenue, but it does seem to be increasing now that we have multiple notaries on site. I would say it's definitely less than $1,000 a year. But I could email you with the
Well, even
exact.
that seems substantial. I mean, are you seeing people coming in requesting notarization multiple times a day?
I would, no.
Our city clerk does a lot of them, and how often do you think? Once a month for her, and maybe once a month. Chief Nils also does them. What do you think for him, like once a month?
At least.
Yeah.
And I guess the reason that I'm bringing it up is because it seems like it's not a lot. And to provide that service for the citizens for a low cost, I think is an advantage to our citizenry. And the fact that the price is low is not causing an increase in demand. I looked at the WAC and it says the maximum fee is $25. You're wanting to raise it from 10 to 15. Is there, other than we can, is there any justification for that number?
The email we got was 15. Yeah, we got an email letting us know of the raise, and it was clearly stated from 10 to 15.
Oh, I just looked it up, the WAC before we started the meeting.
Yeah,
and it said 25. So.
Yeah, I have a copy of the email here that we did receive, and for the kind of notary services that we provide, it did say that the general fee that could be charged was going from 10 to 15.
Okay. Regardless, is there any justification for the city of Milton to raise the fee $5, other than we can?
Well, we do have to pay for our staff's notary, so it does help cover that expense.
Has that expense gone up?
Yeah, our clerk's wages have gone up. Nils's wages go up for the time that they spend doing notary, taking away from other work is an expense. So in that theory, yes, it has gone up, but we'd have to look at the actual notary fee itself. But the staff time wages have gone up.
And what is the market rate, I guess, for notaries?
I think it depends where you go. You can go to like your personal bank often, and they'll do it for free. Other city halls do offer notary services, and I would imagine, since this did come out from the Department of Licensing and it's part of the WAC, that many city halls would be looking to raise it to the new suggested rate.
Okay,
I'll just say the 15 doesn't cover the wages it costs to do the notary.
Sure, but we all are public servants, and it's a nice thing to provide. And I realize $5 is not a lot.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the point. It's not a lot. so why pass it on? So,
Okay. Your comments are received.
thank you.
Any other comments from council? It is an action item. Are there any comments from the audience? Okay. It has been moved by Councilmember Whitaker and seconded by Councilmember Whalen to adopt Resolution 24-1976, the updated fee schedule as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 3-1. Moving on to our last item this evening, Council. It's on page 39 of your packet. It is the contract approval for Public Works Project 162B. In the absence of Director Madden, Planning Manager Stallnecker will provide a review of this agenda item, and then following her review, I will need a motion to open up the floor.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So yes, this is to authorize the mayor to execute the Public Works contract number 162B with CCT Construction Incorporated for 19th Avenue Sidewalk Project for an amount not to exceed $138,040. The City of Milton did advertise for bids for the construction of the 19th Avenue, and they received 7 proposals. CCT Construction Incorporated is the low bid in that amount of $138,040. The Public Works contract, they will be doing new ADA compliant sidewalks along the east side of 19th Avenue, and it goes basically from Milton Way to Hill Tower Park, and it will add approximately 350 linear feet of improvements. The excavating, grading, cement, concrete curb gutter, and the sidewalk, storm drain improvements, minor asphalt paving, traffic control, and other related work items. It will connect the sidewalk on Milton Way to the sidewalk that starts at Hill Tower Park. And the funds for this project are budgeted in the Capital Improvement Fund 310.
Want me to do it?
Councilmember Hall?
Authorize the mayor to execute the Public Works contract number 162B with CTT Construction Incorporated for the 19th Avenue Sidewalk Project for an amount not to exceed $138. I'm sorry, $138,040. I choke on those numbers.
I know. It's been moved by Councilmember Hall and seconded by Councilmember White to authorize the mayor to execute the Public Works contract number 162B with CCT Construction, Inc. for 19th Avenue Sidewalk Project for an amount not to exceed $138,040.00. Councilmember Hall, did you want to speak to your motion?
Again, this is public safety. This is what the residents are asking for, is safe places to walk. This is, our kids are going to school. It's something that we need to do, and we need to do it in segments where it's going to make the most impact. I think this is one of them.
Thank you. Councilmember White?
Yeah, I appreciate any amount of sidewalk work that we can get done. I know this is not a lot, but I think it will enhance the neighborhood and the safety for kids walking to school.
I agree.
Thanks.
Mayor Pro Tem?
The only question, this is just for clarification. So it says in the description, north approximately 30 linear feet, and you said?
Yes, as I was skimming through, trying to prep, if you look at the actual contract and if you look at the scope of work, it's 350 linear feet. So the agenda summary is incorrect.
I just thought I'd clarify that, because when I heard you say that, because I went 30 linear feet, that's hardly anything. But I'm glad to see that we're doing this too, and just for safety's sake, an excellent place to do it in conjunction with the school. Go figure. There are a lot of kids that walk through there. So yeah, that's a great place. That's a lot of, as they would say, bang for your buck for that, because a lot of people will take use of that. So thank you.
And I think one of the things that I appreciate about this project is once the property on the corner of Emerald and 19th is developed, we will have a very small patch of sidewalk at the top of Emerald to make a continuous loop for our kids or anyone walking from school to Emerald to, I mean, it's just it's one of those loops that council approved for the Missing Link project. So we're getting closer on that one. Councilmember Whalen, did you have any comments?
Well, yes, I do. And it's more of a question and probably just my confusion about a lot of things in life, but where is this going to happen on 19th? That's the question I'm leading to. Does it start at Milton Way, go past the Sternberg property, past the new developments, new sidewalks that they have there, down to Hilltower Park down to Emerald? Where is this on that plot? Generally, we generally see that in these documentations about the actual
Yes.
area.
Yeah, it's on the east side of 19th. It starts at Milton Way and goes 350 linear feet up, which takes you to the park, or whether sidewalk, yeah,
So,
to the sidewalk that leads you to the park. So basically, it's from Milton Way to the existing sidewalk, and so yes, it goes up through Sternberg's property.
and generally, we see that in a document when we have construction, it outlines where it is. I'm asking the question because I know there are sidewalks on the Sternberg, next to the Sternberg line. I know there is new sidewalks with a new construction, which I suspect were ADA compliant. And there are limited sidewalks at the park.
Again,
I can't think of any that are there. So, the scope of the work?
Yeah, I'm just basing this on the scope of the work, which says it starts at Milton Way and it goes 350 linear feet north. And if you do that, it connects with the existing sidewalks that are south of the park. So I'm assuming it connects to that, which would get you to the park. And then yes, the next section would have to be beyond that, I'm assuming. But it gets you Milton Way, 350 feet up, which will connect you to the existing sidewalks.
The new development.
To the new development?
Yeah, you know that, not development, those new houses that are right there.
I know there's the new houses there and so forth, and I suspect that they are built to comply with what we're trying to do here. What I'm saying is, without a visualization of where it starts, what it transfers over, which property and so forth, the scope of the work is just language. We usually get a visual representation of the actual project, where it starts, before you interrupt, where it starts and where it finishes. Because there's new development there that I suspect is ADA, fully ADA compliant, just to the north of the Sternberg property.
I will pass your concerns on to the Public Works Manager because this is, I'm just sitting in for him.
Yes, I
So
understand that.
I will pass your concerns on to him.
I think a visual representation of which we generally are provided with, where it starts, where it finishes, and so forth, because it's verbally a little confusing. Because I thought the property adjacent to the Sternberg property was ADA. I know at the corner it is, and I thought that was ADA, and I know the new property should be ADA. And I know that one time we had talked about sidewalks in front of the park, which we haven't moved with. That was a discussion for about a year and a half now. So in visualizing, that's the section that needs the sidewalks the most. So I would just like to have a physical representation of what this project encompasses.
We can get that sent to you.
Yeah. Any other comments from council? Okay. It is an action item. Any comments from the audience? Okay. It has been moved by Councilmember Hall and seconded by Councilmember White to authorize the mayor to execute the Public Works Contract number 162B with CCT Constructions, Inc. for 19th Avenue Sidewalk Project for an amount not to exceed $138,040. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 4-0. Moving on to council reports. We'll start with Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. To start off, it's nice to be back. Being gone for 2 weeks was weird, and I don't miss the 97 degrees and 90% humidity. I was in Virginia, Washington, D.C., and that's a beautiful area of the country. And they do have some, of course, there's lots of money in that area, so their parks are beautiful there. And everything is brick in the colonial theme. So, but it's, like I said, it's beautiful, but it's nice to be back. When I was driving today on Milton Way, so it's the intersection of Yuma and Milton Way, and across from where Northwest Embroidery is that a wayfinding sign? I knew that. So I saw that and went, hey, we're putting up a wayfinding sign. Hold it, I missed voting on that. Did you?
miss voting on that?
It may have been when, or we did it a long, long, long time ago.
It's been a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he was laying the bricks for it. That'll be very nice. So that's all I've got.
No, I appreciate council's approval last budget season for the project manager because the wayfinding's been on our budget, I think, since the second year I was in office,
time,
maybe
yeah.
the third year. And so with having that extra support with staff, it's made a huge difference to get the MAC renovations done, the wayfinders, some of these sidewalk projects going. And so I appreciate council's support on that position.
So anytime you have time to drive by there, you can kind of see the progress from day to day until it's done.
And I believe they started the one on the roundabout as well
Oh.
at Fifth and Porter. So go check that one out.
Yeah, I'll be going by there tomorrow.
Councilmember White.
Speaking of Fifth Avenue, I don't know if anyone has reported it, but there has been a lot of graffiti that has been spray painted on the new concrete blocks, the retaining walls on Fifth Avenue. And was wondering if we could get Public Works to address that.
Okay. Yeah, I
I would
will.
like to keep that out of our city.
Yeah. Have we, and Planning Marshall, have we officially taken over responsibility for that?
I don't
yet?
think so.
Yeah, so we need to
might
reach out.
be able to pass that
We'll
on to
handle
them.
it, yeah. But we will handle it. Thank you. I'm not aware that anyone's reported it, so I appreciate you bringing it to our attention. Councilmember Hall.
Yeah. Just a quick reminder, there's this Milton City yard sale this Saturday. And National Night Out is coming August 6th. And then, yeah, the porta potty a few weeks ago on the Interurban Trail was basically destroyed. Wasn't tagged, but it had to be completely replaced. I don't think these people realize that that money's coming out of their pockets when something gets destroyed like that. I'm hoping maybe if there are kids, the parents are stopping and saying, hey, you realize I'm paying for that. And I have to give Director Madden extreme credit for not only taking the email and acting on it the next day, and I think the next day it was replaced because it was unusable.
Okay.
And many, many people use that.
Thank you for reporting that. Councilmember Whalen?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of items, and one I wanted to mention a while ago. Oak Street, between 11th and Milton Way. There used to be signage there that was part of Oak Street that goes in front of the old grocery store that we used to have there, dress shop, liquor store, there was a few other things. There's no street signage on that section. Have we surrendered that street? That's my question.
Okay.
One of them. It was always a one-way street. It would always, if you were coming up Milton Way, you could turn towards the dress shop. It used to be a liquor store, it used to be a drugstore, and a butcher, or a grocery store. And that was always labeled as Oak, and it was one way. It's still labeled as a one-way, but it's being used as a multi-directional. People are coming up Milton Way, turning into it appropriately. It's a one-way, and stop at 11th. There's people coming down Milton Way, going across 11th, in front of Cannon Electric, stopping at Milton Way, and then making a left-hand turn to go down the hill. And that was always a little bit of a problem. So I don't know if the signage is appropriate or not.
Okay.
So it'd be interesting to see.
And Councilmember, you're referring to that little strip right in front of now what is the Little Nitty, I think it's called, is that what she's called? And Cannon, correct?
Well, yeah, the electric.
Okay.
Yeah, the folks and stuff.
Okay.
It's beautiful, it's done nice. But, throughout history, that's the way it was always recognized. I think you'll find it in some of the old maps for the city.
Okay.
That's one item. I don't know who, and I don't want to go around the city of Milton taking every picture of the wired political signs that have been forbidden by our new sign code. The wires, you stick the wires in the ground, you stick the sign on it and so forth. Milton Way is becoming populated with it. Only 4 right now. One's for Kennedy and a couple other folks. Now, there are other political signs coming up that are on stakes. That's what we approved as council. We forbid the wire sign, did we not?
We did not.
No.
The planning commission recommended allowing them and the council passed it that way. The wire is allowed.
So those wire signs that I thought, and as my reading, I didn't follow it as closely as you did. I thought they were banned.
No, you had mentioned it as an alternative, and the planning commission discussed it, and their recommendation allowed the wire signs, and the city council approved it that way. So it was approved to allow the wire signs.
Thank you for clarifying my confusion with that, because I know that they've always been considered to be a relatively safety hazard. And I thought we were banning them. Forgive me, that's a section of it I will study and read again to help me. Yeah. I'm going to go back to another situation in town. Sorry, I can't find a place to park to take pictures of violations and so forth. There is still an issue with the building on Milton Way. I don't know what's inside. There's no signage on it. And it is 100% packed parking lot. You can't get emergency equipment into it. You can't get folks out of it unless you're the first car in line to get out. It's a safety hazard that's been talked about in the past. And also the off-site use of federal land for parking is another issue associated with that. It's just something that's been mentioned for quite a while, and it just sits there and lingers. And I've mentioned it to a few other folks, and we've talked about it. You've been there and even involved with it. The Milton I'm going to call it the Welcome to Milton, the Milton signs on the roundabout. That's been in place. That's been working for about the last 2 weeks, and I don't know if they finished. Hopefully, they did finish it, because it's the same gentleman who's putting the sign in you recognized on the corner of Yuma and Milton Way. And we went through this and approved it and so forth. It's going to be an eye catcher, but it's going to be something that's going to be nice to put maybe on the Milton connection, the 2 new signs and so forth. It dresses things up quite nicely.
Yeah.
And I'm running through, the rest of the look of the city of Milton. There has been recently another, I think it was a severe accident at the exit from the shopping center in front of Key Bank, where there used to be a stop sign. And there was an accident about 1.5 years ago, and somebody said they're no longer responsible for it. I want to give credit to Safeway, because they've restriped their parking lot, and there's written stop signs before the crosswalks. There's written stop signs with the parking lanes that move towards the entry of Safeway and so forth. They've done a great job. The rest of that shopping center, for you might say the safety of personnel. They're not doing anything to improve the safety with. So I'm going to go back to that. There may be nothing in the contract that says they don't have to have a stop sign. They don't have to have safety for the general public. But I can't believe that there is not another way to see that that occurs. Because I went out after the accident and there was crap all over the road and it stayed there for 3 days. No responsibility. I don't know why that happens, but that's another issue. And it's small issues. Fortunately, I don't think anybody was severely injured, or if they were, we don't know about it. And that particular entry and exit for in front of, well, next to Texas Longhorn, is that the right business and so forth? That's a difficult one because you're coming uphill, you're looking at a flat road, you're looking at a black fence, and you can't see really down that road at a stop bar. Everybody has to migrate into the lane. So if there is anything that we can do to encourage good neighborly response from the owners out there to help safeguard the general public would be appreciated. And I'll save everything for the next meeting.
Thank you, Councilmember Whalen. Director reports, Planning Manager Stolniker.
I don't have anything on my list for tonight.
Okay.
We do have a neighborhood meeting tomorrow for a cold storage warehouse off of Highway 99. I believe it's Birch, and that's at 4 o'clock tomorrow.
No comments. Chief?
Just to update, Officer Haney is continuing in his recovery. We've had a few complications, but he still continues to recover. Still looking at 6 months, maybe longer, for his return, provided that everything heals back correctly. He certainly appreciates all the support that he's been getting from the community and his wife and his baby. And so we continue to send him our prayers and our thoughts and our positive messages and energy. And so we'll continue monitoring his progress. I did send an email out. We do have a new assistant chief. He came from Detroit, was a sergeant there, worked internal affairs in Detroit. He has a very, very deep resume. And then he worked at King County, and then he came to us from King County, and he's now our new assistant chief. And then Corporal Zimmer was promoted to sergeant. He came from Seattle Police Department to our department, and again, very knowledgeable and a welcome addition to the leadership team, and hope to see good things and continue the upward vision that we have for the Milton Police Department and working with our partners in the community. And I did also send an accolade email out to council, but I don't know if the citizens were aware of it, but 2 of our officers assisted Fife in an attempted murder shooting that happened down at Sportco. And it was our officers that apprehended the suspect after he had fled on foot. And so Corporal Sarf and Officer Crochet were the 2 officers that apprehended him after he had fled the scene and attempted to murder a security guard that was down there and had shot and injured the security guard. And other than that, you see something, say something, pay attention. It continues to be risky out there, and hopefully we'll start to see things calm down, but usually it's the opposite with the heat. More people are out, there's more confrontations and more violence. Unfortunately, that's the reality.
When you said that, it reminded me when you say, if you see something, say something. So I was traveling through Ording, and they actually have those on signage throughout their entire city with, and I thought they stole Chief's quote.
We should have
You
copyrighted
should have
that.
trademarked it.
It'd be a rich, rich city.
Okay, do you have any? No. Okay, just a couple of things. As Councilmember Hall mentioned, National Night Out is Tuesday, August 6th. Faith Family is hosting it again for us. It's from 5:30 to 7:30. So come out and connect with your first responders if you have the time. And then this Thursday is our third annual Touch a Truck here at City Hall. It starts at 12:45. It was extremely successful last year. And so we'll have back, of course, our city vehicles as well as SWAT, Fife School District, and East Pierce Fire and Rescue. Council, I sent you an email last week to let you know that we scheduled a budget retreat for Wednesday, July 24th at 9 a.m. With our interim finance director, Robeck, to get council's input for your top priorities for next year's budget. If you're not able to make it, it's okay. Just make sure you connect with Director Robeck to give her your top 3 priorities. And then as Tom mentioned today, I did walk the Interurban Trail, the Milton portion. And why I did that was because Mayor Olson of Edgewood, he's our newest mayor, today was his rebirth day. And you're probably gonna ask what a rebirth day is. And what that is, it's the date on the calendar for survivors of sudden cardiac arrest to celebrate the day that they died and were brought back to life. And so every year he either hikes or walks. And this year he wanted to collaborate with other elected officials. So he walked the entire 19 miles this morning, starting at Tukwila and ended in Fife. I believe he started at 7 and had some lunch and some things in between. And I met him at the Milton portion at 3:30. I was surprised they all were still in high spirits after that much walking, but they were. And I will share with you that every person that was in this group commented that Milton has the prettiest portion of the Interurban Trail. And that's coming from Edgewood residents, which I think is fantastic because they don't give us a lot of compliments very often. They even pointed out, one of the residents who's on their park board pointed out a tree that he thinks we should really highlight because it's cool and it's his favorite tree on the Interurban Trail. So that is what I did today. As Tom Boyle mentioned as well, Edgewood is seeking support for funding for the connection. I am reviewing that. It's a quick turnaround, but I will share it with council once we've reviewed it. One of Patty Murray's assistants was there, so of course I had to keep plugging how beautiful our trail was and how we need support for the connection and how we don't want to be the last missing link of the trail. But what was neat was him and I were there early and he got to see the broad range of people. Like, it's not just elderly walking, right? Like, there are kids on scooters, and it's not on Monday afternoons. You have kid on scooters, you have people running, you have bikers, you have the elderly community walking together. Like, it's so well used. And we're at the trailhead that isn't even really the trailhead. So, yeah, so it was just a great afternoon to walk. And if you haven't walked the trail in a while, I would encourage you to just get out and walk it because it is really pretty. I know Francis, our Councilmember Hall, knows exactly what I'm talking about since she walks it every day. So seeing that all items have been concluded, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to,
Please,
motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any objection? Okay, seeing none, the meeting is adjourned at 7.